How about joining nuclear fusion? Over 9.5 million respect with decent upgrades, a ranked war once a month, and 85% ranked war payout. Nuclear fusion is part of Nuke, a faction family that was founded in 2012, being revitalized in 2018, and is one of the biggest veteran factions in all of Torn, with 9 factions full of members calling Nuke their home. You will find an atmosphere which allows you to grow and be a better player. Contact Data ID 1610898 to come home and join nuclear fusion.
Looking to get your kill streak merits? Losses Russ has you covered. Kill streaks, defense, weapon XP, single hit damage. No contract is too big. We do it all. We have over 750 registered attackers doing an average of 2,500 attacks daily and over 500,000 total hits completed. Contact Fatties ID 2680594 or Kern ID 2441890 to start your contract today. Also looking for attackers.
This is an emergency broadcast alert. There has been a confirmed detonation of a radioactive bomb within Torn. We urge all residents to remain calm and listen to Torn Underground podcasts.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Torn Underground, part of the Torn Underground Network. Partnered with Torn, I guess. Anyway, this is just Ara speaking a little bit after the fact of recording with the Felon and our Patreon, Jenna Tills, as a player spotlight, but we're kind of turning it into the whole episode. We talked about a lot of cool stuff. I think we kind of talked about podcasts in general and behind the scenes of the podcast and what we're doing here. And I think it was just an overall interesting and kind of different conversation here on Torn Underground. So I'm super excited about it. So we were actually going to talk about merits as well, as in most are like the rewards from merits, like critical hit rate, education length, and stuff like that. But this was, such a good conversation. We decided that we're actually just going to go with just that as the episode this week, and we're going to do merits next week. And that's just the beauty of running your own show. You can make calls like that. Isn't that awesome? So anyway, let's get into it, to the player spotlight. That is actually the episode.
You as well. And you just had the cap on. You'd have to react that way as well.
Yeah.
Impossible.
It'd be terrible, and that's why I don't think we'll ever do video. And I think that's also like a perfect way to start off this player spotlight with you, Mr. Jenna Tills. Well, Mr. Right. Tills, Jenna Tills.
Mr. Tills, yeah. Where did
Great
the
name
go?
I honestly didn't even get it until you kind of said something about it.
Yeah,
it went right through my head, honestly.
It's because I have, I think it's a good, introduction to who I am as that is me. I have the humor of a 12-year-old. And I will make you say a funny name and then laugh about it because you did it. And every time I see it in when we're rank warring and I just see the profile of someone I just absolutely slaughtered and I see attacked by genitals, my God, that shit cracks me up every time. So yeah, I definitely think.
It reminds me of those.
Yeah. The only reason I actually did change was you'll know this.
Wait, what?
What were you saying?
Oh, no, I was saying it reminds me of those I mean, I don't have a TikTok, but my wife will show me TikToks. And actually, on Facebook. I'm this much of a loser, I guess.
They have reels.
I watch their reels, but there's only ever 5 of them, and I'll just watch them. And they're usually kind of stupid, but like whatever. So I'm like 3 months behind of like what's popular on TikTok, because basically all the stuff that's like popular from TikTok 3 months ago gets placed in those reels. So I'm like 3 months behind what's current in the world,
Yes.
I guess. And I'll see those videos of people like
Facebook
ordering.
reels, that's like,
What?
I'm like, if you're watching Facebook reels, that's like you're getting the 3-month-old from Instagram reels, which is like the 3-month-old from. So you're getting like.
So I'm like 6 months out. Oh shit.
Yeah, man.
That's pretty brutal.
I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. Like TikTok.
Yeah, but it reminds me of those ones where they'll tell like a funny name to like the baristas at Starbucks, and they have to say it, and then they say it, and it's like something funny, like "suck my cock" or something like that. Yeah, Mike Jackoff or something like that.
Mike Oxlong.
Oh yeah, Mike Oxlong. Yeah. I think that's what I was really going for there. Yeah. Oh, and hi, fella. For a second, I thought we were having audio troubles again. I was like, he has not talked.
We did. I lost internet.
Oh my god!
Everything went down. Yep. So I'm back. We're good.
So you really weren't there.
Nope. Yeah. No. I came in and there was a full-on conversation. I said, I'm just gonna slide in and pretend I've been here the entire time.
Yeah, this is the fella. And I've been here the whole time.
I think he's nursing a cold, right? He's conserving his energy. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. Yep. That's all it was.
Mm-hmm. You have sick time on this job. You could have used sick time.
Bro, you didn't even give me paternity leave.
I offered you unpaid paternity leave. I did.
Unpaid, and your job wasn't guaranteed when you came back.
I remember that as well. I was actually getting very interested. I was like, "Oh, potential opening. All right, why not?"
Yeah, see, exactly. See, you got everyone's hopes up. I had to step in.
People are hungry to like bite at the nips. Yeah, don't give them that hope.
I like to give hope and then take it away.
Yeah.
No, it's good because I actually did not understand when I first started listening to you guys. I did not understand your tactic of like, and if you start another podcast, we will come for you. I didn't understand it in the sense of like, but don't you want to grow the game? And then the Torn Underground Network, great name by the way. Like that's a great idea. I'm like, okay, so they're completely backflipping. That's the smart play because expansion means great things like better gameplay maybe and money, but who cares about that? Nobody.
It's not about the money.
No,
yeah, we don't do children.
Yeah.
I don't need food or to pay my rent or anything like that.
I pay the bills with downloads. That's it.
See, I'm a progressive male of the species. My wife just makes a fuck ton of money, and she just gives me like an allowance, and I spend most of it on Torn.
I am so happy that one of the co-hosts is outright dismantling the patriarchy. Yes,
one by one dismantling the patriarchy.
She's making bank. Good for you, man.
Hardcore money. She was a preschool teacher for 6 years.
Yeah.
We were rolling in it during that.
Like crayon?
She's gonna hate me when she hears. She's gonna hear this eventually and be like, "What the hell?" Yeah. I guess that's a side top.
Yeah.
Let's go into a whole tangent. Teachers deserve more money.
Yeah, as I've said, and probably might say a couple times, like big fan. So it's like nice to be on this side of it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Sometimes you guys say things, and I'm like, that's crazy. I did not know about that. And I think that is good for the game. Like, to be blunt, anyone who looks me up after will notice that I'm a very old player. I've been on Torn for a while, but I actually have not been on Torn for a while. Like if you look at my activity of all time, literally around the time
I think we lost you.
it just goes
Oh, no.
straight up.
Yeah.
Hold on, say that again. We lost you for a second there.
Yeah. I was just saying how if you looked at my all-time activity around the time you guys started the podcast, it just goes straight up. It's like a very gradual ramp.
That's so cool.
My 15 years of like playing. And I think a lot of it is because it's hard to play this game, especially at first. If you have no guidance, like no will to like look for the resources, it's really difficult for new players. And like, I don't know, that was my experience anyways. Like it was difficult for so long. And then, like I started, I don't know, like training a bit more over like last summer, but then like the pod comes out and I'm like, okay, like maybe I can learn a thing or two. Right. And yeah, like I didn't even know Halloween was an event. Like imagine that.
I didn't either.
Imagine how many years I've wasted where I could have been sitting so pretty right now.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like I'm playing catch up, but that's okay. That's some player's journey.
Consistency is key to this game. If you're just consistent, that's why taking time off is just kind of pretty devastating. I mean, obviously, if you need to take time off from the game, take time off from the game. But just like logging in 3 times a day, just that, and it's you'll grow faster than you think, honestly. But you got it.
Yeah, the thing I guess for me is I didn't understand like the value of the game. Like I guess to be fair, I didn't understand like how big the big players were. How like what would be considered? Are they ever now? But especially like you go back 7 years or you go back 10 years, where like that's probably a time I was playing semi frequently. But like, what did my experience look like? My whole identity was like a flower runner. Like that is what I did. I just traveled all the time in my little shitty plane because I didn't have the fancy jets, right? And I spent my whole university doing that between classes. Like it was easy. It's easy to like log on and stuff. But if you have a job and like all of a sudden, like, I don't know, you're just not checking your phone often because like you have to, I don't know, watch a pool for 5 hours or 10 hours. And then it takes away from the game and the experience. And I don't know, I think having like more mediums, like I'm definitely getting more involved with the forums. Like I think, a suggestion that was made in this podcast, to like read the forums and like they're the life of the game. And after reading them, like that's where the drama is. That's where the tea is, advice, like the game lives in the forums. And I didn't know that for like 15 years.
Oh man. So that's literally where the game is.
You look at that activity and it makes sense, but all to say like, good job.
Yeah. That's where they talk shit.
I'm in the same boat as you though. Like my account, I mean, I'm a little bit younger than yours, but mine's 14 years and 4 months. And for a lot of the time I wasn't active. I actually became active when I had my first kid because I was home from work. It was right in the beginning of COVID. So I was furloughed from work. I had nothing to do. I was like, let me check out the game again. And what brought me back to stay was I got into a good faction with just a good community. And that's what kept me playing is like the competition within the small community I had. And then, I mean, more recently now, like obviously I'm trying to get more into the community. So, more people know the show or just me in general. So like I think that's really the key of this game is just the community that's built and how people come together. That's what makes it so much more fun.
Yeah, no, that is like absolutely huge. I think the community is what we stay for ultimately, right? Like it's one thing to have the knowledge, but then to like go and execute and not feel like this text-based game is as cold as it looks, right? Like that's something special. And you're like 100%. I totally agree. Like being in a faction, that was the other thing too. Like most of my career on tour, like I've bounced around from faction to faction. I've bounced around from job to job. I've mostly been in the cruise lining industry because I mean it made sense for me at the time with the flower running. But company atmospheres, they're not like bumping or anything. Like they're not, the company chats are pretty stale if you look at most of them.
Yep.
And then I was fortunate enough, like this year, while I was, slowly getting more involved in the game, I switched over to a lingerie store because, wow, that's broken.
Yep.
And the community there, I was actually stunned. Like I did not believe there were people like this on Torn. All to say, like maybe it just takes time. Like maybe that was my journey. It just took like years of like trying different things. But you see the kind of way people role play and the way they tease each other and check in on each other. Like that's wholesome. And I think what makes it even more valuable for someone like me, I don't want to talk too much about real life, but I moved across the country maybe 4 years ago or so. I'm in Canada. I moved across the country from east to west. And on the West Coast, it is really difficult to make friends. It is really difficult to break into social circles. That's kind of the rap that this area gets. And it's even harder if you don't have a thing like school or you don't have a thing like work. And, I was in a very precarious situation where my jobs, I'm not working with a lot of people all the time. Like I'm a delivery driver, but, I don't drive a truck like Ara. I drive my little crappy car and I deliver people food. That's it. Nothing glamorous about that. And, I'm also a nanny and I nanny 2 boys and I've watched them grown up. It is quite beautiful. And I really love to be here, but that's a job where's the social circles?
Yeah.
Like who's my peers? Nobody. I have my boss who's also my roommate and super chill. And that's great, but that is not friendships. Right. And then when you start just investigating and Torn a bit more and you start one of the best advice I was given was, try to join a Hall of Fame faction if you could, especially because, at the time I was asking this advice, I've been on the game for a long, long time. Not great stats either. Just I've been a seasoned vet, so I know what chains are. They wouldn't have to train me or anything. And yeah, even being in a more competitive faction, my God, the community is so engaging. The jokes, the camaraderie, the I don't know. It's amazing. It's amazing to see that there is this huge community in this dorky ass game that we all love, but we all also hate. And
this is cool, man. I just want to get that out of the way. This is cool. This makes us cool.
No,
okay.
Totally. Yeah,
I'm okay.
Own it. I mean,
I'm okay.
When someone like Ara and myself is I'll fess up. You can see on my name, I've got the blue border. We have some skin in the game, so of course I'm gonna own this. This game is cool. I think 100%. That's probably why it's easy for me to sell it to the kids I work with. But yeah, I don't know. You look outside and you don't really worry about how it may look because there's such a rich community here, and that's something I love to see, and we want to help grow the game. And yeah, I love that you guys are growing the game just by doing this, and I can see why the developers see the value in it too.
Yeah, sometimes it does kind of freak me out because I think about that. I only really think about the times that I've said weird things on this podcast, and that's kind of what replays in my head when I think about Chad listening to this, Bogey listening to this. I just think of them listening to the weird parts, and I just cringe in my own head.
Yeah, I don't know. The weird is that's the good stuff though. That's what keeps someone like me, and I'm sure much of your listeners coming back. Yeah, because I don't know, it's kind of what do we really want to hear? I don't know. Okay, this is a great way to segue into the potential of Paul having his own segment. Maybe there are people that just want to hear the numbers, the stats, how to grow. your like battle stats or like how to get good. You know, maybe they want a succinct, very compressed version of that. But I think there's also a large chunk of us that we want to hear when you guys fuck up or you make a mistake or you say a weird thing or you do your goddamn Elmo voice. God damn it, that was funny.
What's fucking funny about it?
That was funny as hell.
That's not fucking funny. You want to see fucking pain, bitch?
Oh, I didn't know Devil was on too. Oh shit.
Welcome, Devil. We bought him into the show. You guys fucked up the settings. I can talk.
You paid him $5.
I can talk. I paid $10. It was $10.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
just his account.
I totally get what you're saying though, and that's why I do think that is the right play for it though. I think what I'm trying to go for with my show with Torn Underground here is entertainment. Really, I want you to maybe learn a thing or two, but laugh at the same time, and that's what I like from podcasts I listen to. Except for when I'm listening to like hardcore, like true crime shit, then I just want all the blood and guts and all that stuff.
Yep.
But any other podcast I listen to, I like humor in it. So, it's not like I write out jokes, but I just try to like whatever comes to the moment. Because most of the show is off the cuff. We don't really prepare that much.
What? No. Yes. I remember. Everything's written out and stuff. Remember.
Yeah. You say this? Are you trying to act like we script this
right now?
We literally fucking sit down and re-record, and I think it works. I think that's what makes our show good. But I do totally understand that for one, my humor is not everybody's humor, and I totally get that. I do think I'm a decently funny guy. You know, I'm not afraid to say certain things and stuff like that. And I also make sure I don't say anything too insane. I try to keep like a kind of a healthy balance, but I also get that there's people that are going to like it either way. And they want something that's a lot more just basically just raw number torn nerd stuff. And so I think, you know, a show like that would coincide fantastic along our show. And I think people could be a fan of both sort of things. But I also think it's totally fine that if somebody came to the Torn Underground network on Spotify and they skipped every single release that the Felon and I put out, if they're listening to other creators on the show, then that still makes me perfectly happy that I helped acquire and put out content that they do enjoy. Not everybody's going to like my humor. Most people are going to hate the Felon. And so that's why I think it'll be good, and I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, it's a great balance that you guys have, 100%.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all thanks to me.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's good. I think, yeah, you know, as someone who also like, you know, because we're both drivers, someone who listens to a lot of podcasts, I think that is very valuable. Just having that kind of atmosphere, or even the way you're like expressing the content that you have planned, right? Because it's not like you guys don't come planned. Like we see that, and that is amazing in the effort. But yeah, like just off the cuff, like how does it make you feel? Well, it makes me feel this fucking way. Like people do want to hear that, and when you're in a tin can for like hours on end, or you're in a very isolating job, or you have a long commute, you know, like it's not so lonely. It's truly not so lonely. It's warm. It puts you in a good mood. It makes you feel like you're a part of something. And I think that's special.
Right. There is one thing that I think a lot of new podcasters get into. I'm not trying to act like I'm an expert on podcasts. I know I've listened to a sheer hardcore amount of podcasts in my last 3 years of, I think I got into sorry, I'm like burping. I was drinking beer. See, that's not
Oh, you're
professional
getting
podcast.
emotional.
See,
I'm
exactly.
like,
I'm
wow.
not.
It's okay.
Oh my God, that's so
You're gonna get emotional about your own hurt. Because you
I
should be
got
proud
into
of it.
podcast 3 years ago and it changed my life. I mean, I guess in a way it really did though. It really made working a much more easy to get through. Honestly, I love podcasts. I mean, obviously in a much less emotional way. I guess it did change my life. Oh shit! I almost forget what I was getting into now. See, this is where the felon is supposed to help me figure out what I was saying. Felon. It's that exactly what just happened right there. I think a lot of new podcasters are kind of afraid to let little mistakes be heard, and they think that everything has to be really scripted. I remember our very first episode was actually somewhat, it wasn't scripted, but it was planned out. It was like, but more so than what we do now. Cause like, say for this episode, literally the whole plan is we're going to talk about merits with the felon and I, and then we're going to do our player spotlight with you. That's the plan. Yeah. That's the entire plan. Yeah. In the first episode, we had like, okay, for like, we're going to talk about this for 5 minutes. Then we're going to talk about this for about 10 minutes. Then this is what we're going to talk about after that.
Oh, okay.
And that's how we did the first episode. And I think that was good for the first episode. Cause we were obviously nervous.
Yes.
Valid. Yeah, totally. Me too. No, I'm sweating buckets and right now.
I think new podcasters think that like you have to be very like every part of the audio has to be perfect, but I think they don't understand that the listener is a lot more forgiving. Most listeners, obviously not everybody, but most listeners are more forgiving than you might think. I mean, it's people that are just doing usually, because the way that most people listen to podcasts, and I understand this is not going to be everybody, but it's when they're doing something kind of mundane. You're driving, you're doing some yard work, you're doing some chores around the house. You're just doing your job at work, and you have the luxury of being able to listen to something while you do your job. It's usually when you're doing something like that. So it's okay to like let the little things that make you human kind of come through, because that's one reason that people like podcasts, is because it makes them feel like they're with people, that they're talking with people, they're having a social interaction. And it's not crazy to enjoy that. I very much enjoy that. That's why podcasts are so cool. I think the podcast that is every single second of the audio is very planned and methodical. I think there's good in that. I think it works for certain things, but it doesn't work for everything. And that's why, at least with my podcast, I am going for the audio doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to leave those mistakes, those ums. I mean, we could try to say less, but like, I think it would just sound weird if we just try to cut everything up. Yeah, I'm going on a really long tangent at this point, but like, you get what I'm trying to say?
I think you're right, though.
Man. No, this is what this is what the stuff of podcasting is about, right? Back me up, fella.
No, yeah. So, look, I mean, you said, like, when I listen to like the true crime, like Crime Junkies and stuff, like, I wouldn't expect them to come on the show and be like, we're going to talk about this case and have nothing written down about it. Like, it wouldn't make sense for a show. It wouldn't make sense for a show like that. But I think with this type of game, how we've said it time and time again, and said it from the first episode, that it's a game where you make it how you want to play it. So like, me and you can go into a topic and have completely different mindsets, and we don't have to agree. We don't have to say it the same way, even if we do agree. And that's what makes it able for us to not script it, but have a topic in mind and just talk about it. Because, I mean, generally we're pretty knowledgeable about the game. Like, I don't know everything about it, but I could have a conversation with somebody about a topic and know what I'm talking about. So it's easy to just kind of just talk about something and kind of go off on it. So yeah, this is definitely this topic and show gives us the ability to kind of wing it a lot more than other podcasts can.
Yeah,
I agreed.
I think it being what just to hit on like what you said, fella, I think it being a game that is truly subjective. Like, yeah, like I am sure there is, you know, the most effective way to level up the fastest, or the most effective way to get the most strength, or the most money, or like I'm sure like it's a numbers game, so it's in like the writing's on the wall. Um, However, people and you know the people who play it have very very different lives, and lives that will dictate what their gameplay is, right? Like
Yep.
even the thing about me being a flower runner in college, like that made sense, but I'm not that now. Like now I'm all about business. Now I'm about like I have 3 companies currently. I'm trying to like build it up and have a little empire. And like that's how I want to play the game.
Mhm.
And that's not a like you're not wrong for doing you're not an idiot, you're going to fall behind. Like that's all bullshit because it is a subjective game and it depends on what the fuck is happening in my life today.
Yeah.
And so because of that, it's like just easy to pull from your like, yeah.
And I mean, to be honest,
Ego.
like when people are like, "Oh, like this is the way to get stats the fastest," or "You're gonna fall behind," like first off, the people up top, like if you're a new player, you're not catching them. Like it's not gonna happen unless you're willing to basically start buying SEs from day one, and you have an unlimited
Yeah.
amount of in real life cash to just do like. But like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna like. I don't ever expect to compete with like Realist Assassin. Honestly, I don't even expect to compete with Ara with his stats. Like I don't expect that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have fun working up to 2 billion and then 5 billion. Like I'll be happy with that because that's where I'm at in my gameplay. Like so, like it's like you said, it's so. If this is what you want to do, cool. Like if I just want to make money and who cares about stats, then you can do that, and it doesn't matter who, because yeah, you might not be stronger than somebody, but you might have more money than them, and to you that might be better than stats in general. So it's all about what you want to do in the game.
100%. Yeah, and
I broke him.
Yeah,
He gave up on
I think
catching
it
me.
is. I think because I see things too about like. See, this is okay. This is why I'm a very big proponent of like growing the game. I think this is like my next chapter of Torn. Like, you know, I kind of was not existent of a player in high school when I was introduced to it. Come college, was an importer. You know, just that was. I think right now it even says like I'm celebrity importer. Like that was my whole identity up until maybe this year. And I think now the goal is I want to grow the game because I have had so much fun with it. Like it has been a blessing to play it. Honestly, it like helps me cope. It helps me cope with existing and like waking up and going to work. At least like you have something to look. Oh, I could just train a little, or like I have a war coming up, or it just gives a
Dopamine
little
rush
bit of
every morning.
purpose. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like every single morning, get a pop
Yeah.
150E, a Xanax. It feels good.
Yep.
Oh man, I'm a machine right now. Like training. Like I remember I was on one of these pods. You're like, yeah, I mean, you could do 4. You just have to set alarms. Bitch, I've been setting alarms. What do you mean?
I can't do it. I'm not like if I wake up at 3 a.m. I'm not going back to bed. I can't do it.
You know how easy it is to just go, oh, train. Oh, Xanax train. Oh, I overdosed in the middle of my slumber. That's fine. I just cut so much time out of it because I can go back to bed for 7 hours. Like, yeah, like I think the purpose that this game has given me is just so special that I've been referring or trying to reference players, and you know, I was wrongfully feted for that once, and I was like, dude, these are the kids I nanny, and I promised they're old enough and mature enough to do this, and they're like, we don't believe you. And I was like, fine. And then we just tried again. And they're like, okay, we believe you. Sick. Thanks. Because they see how much I get excited with this game. And I already see, and like I said, like the beginning of this game is such a grind. That grind to like 50 million total battle stats is hard. It is long. It is grueling. No way you cut it. It's fine. But man, the excitement that boy gets when he's like, oh, Jarrell, I trained for like 100 decks today. I'm like, dude, that's so sick. I'm so proud of you. Like to see it grow, and like he will be a big player one day. And you know, I'll be like in a retirement home, And like that's the way I want this game to go.
Yeah.
I think for many years I didn't play it competitively because I just thought, I mean, how long is this game really going to be around? And yeah, like something
That's
switched,
true.
and now I'm like, I want this game to be around. Like I
Me too.
want it to be around.
Yeah.
Like that's
Agreed.
why it makes me like it's sad, like, you know, like if like people quit or something like that, or they talk about like how the game sucks. Like I love the game. Like I made a podcast about it. Like that's
Yeah,
also another
I saw
funny
a forum post of like some guy saying that he was like leaving, and I was like, "What? Why would you do that?" Like, but then I actually understood like appreciation for it because someone who I talk to quite regularly, like I'd even call them a friend, I like logged onto their profile the other day just to like chat with them, inactive for 26 days. Like that broke my heart. I didn't even get a goodbye. Like, God, now I see it, but it's wild.
Yeah. Like the one of the I've talked about it before, but Lorehammer, the podcast that's now over, that was about Warhammer 40K. They would actually talk mad shit about the game. Like mad shit about the game, but they still love it. Like I'm not afraid to talk shit about things I don't like about in the game, even though the overlords are listening. But like
Big
I
Brother's
just
watching.
naturally don't talk much shit just because I just like the game. To me there's not much to talk I'm not going to talk shit just to talk shit. I'll talk shit, but only if it feels warranted and how I really see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
100%.
Thank you.
The yeah, there is, because I do, and yeah, I don't know. When I reached out to like, oh, I kind of want to like do a player spotlight, I was a little unsure, but like the closer we got to it, the more I was excited to do it because I see this culture on Torn of like, yeah, like just trashing shit. Like maybe I spend too much time in like suggestions. I should maybe not be there as much, but like or like there's this culture of like, yeah, like you were saying, Ara, like, oh, the game's dead. Oh, is it even fun anymore? And like, I'm sure the people that are talking about this, they're the big guys. Like they're the ones who are so strong and could do anything and buy anything and go anywhere and whatever. And like, I was thinking about that too, like on a deep level, like, what if I just was the richest player? Like, would this game mean anything to me? Like, would there still be value? So like, I can try to understand that perspective of like, it is boring. But I think if you're starting to feel that way about this game, you need to be a part of the next era. It now comes to a time of like, I'm going to get a couple proteges and they're going to be the strongest. Like maybe I'm the strongest now. Maybe I'm not even the strongest, but like I'm going to look after the next wave because how cool would it be for like just eras of Torn, like years and decades of Torn, like a true history of Torn. Like, oh, did you hear that island war that went down between NS and Monarch of like 2023 or 2024? You know, people are talking about it 50 years from now because it happened. How amazing would that be? And we, all of us, have the ability to make that a reality.
I mean, we're seeing it right now with just Insurgency from back in the day. Like, it's still talked about, and if you were part of it, like, that was cool. If you were actually able to be part of it.
I was part of it.
I wasn't active.
Loser.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the history of this game already is so interesting. Like, for me to even think, like, oh man, like you had someone from JFK on, like what I remember when they were a monster. Like, man, I mean, they still are. No disrespect, please don't come for me. But like, seeing how the game evolves, I think gives meaning enough to try to promote it more.
You know, I would love to see something about Torn become viral. Like, say, Leroy Jenkins, or, I mean, this is now another World of Warcraft viral moment, but the time that, like, a bunch of players had a funeral for one of their guild members and it got raided, and a bunch of them got killed while they're just trying to do a funeral. That was a whole thing. Like, if Torn could, like, make it on a list of, like, viral video game moments like those, that'd be really cool. But nobody Nobody but Torn people care about the insurgency war, or would even really care why it was important and what mattered about it. It's easy to see why Leroy Jenkins was funny. You don't have to know much about it. You don't even have to know how World of Warcraft works to see that video and think, that was kind of funny. Even though it was all fake.
Yeah, it is definitely hard to like scale. I won't leave it, unsaid that promoting it is a hurdle, but I think that's what makes it, for me anyways, that's what makes it fun, because I get to sell for me, what is a game that is super cool and it's giving me a lot, but now I have to try to convince a random person or a friend of mine why they can experience the same thing I experience. And yeah, I mean, it's hard as hell, but it's also cool. And it happens, but I think I'm in a very unique position because like childcare worker, I work with like teens and preteens, like I have a bit more of a, I guess, influential audience, but I'm like those are the perfect people. But then again, I did listen to the last episode about predators and I suddenly was like, I don't feel the same way.
Great episode.
I'm glad that, people in high places are doing things to make sure that doesn't happen.
Right.
So yeah, like why not just try to, it would be sick if this game blew up. It would be so, how would the system even handle it if like just an influx of new players came?
I mean, it's
buy more servers.
Well, I mean, they're already looking to migrate to the cloud or whatever. So I'm hoping they're preparing for that. But it's just like, yes, like the game would be super cool to have more people, but like when you talk about the game blowing up, like there is still 50,000 players. Like it's not like this is a small game by any means necessary, but I know just to have like a new wave of players would be super cool.
Yeah, it would add a whole new dynamic of like, I think it would add a new like political spin. Like there's a whole bunch of new, like they haven't taken sides. They don't have relationships with anyone yet. Like there's so much room for like drama, like backstabbing, commitment, loyalty, everything. That would be crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they're dreaming.
It's good that there is nothing like politically involved in this game. Like there's no like ties to anything, which is nice. Because I think it keeps the game very neutral and allows the people in the game to kind of express it themselves instead, which I think again adds to like that community aspect of it. But yeah, I mean, I would love to like, me and Ara go on, like gaming podcasts and talk to them about the show, about the game and stuff. Like I think because like that's the people who you want to connect with, like people who already like games. Like that's what you want. Like like posting on Facebook. Yes, Facebook has their whole algorithm to like target people, and I'm sure that works. But if you get on a podcast that has thousands of listeners and all these people want to hear about is games, like those are the people who are going to give it a shot and be like, let me just see what it's about.
Yeah, that's a good strat.
And of course, me and Ara would give our recruiting link, so we each have like unlimited free gifts and whatnot. But
no, it's not about the money. We're not going to put out a recruit.
No, you mean to tell me if we go on a show, you are not putting your referral link on there?
Well, I mean, if anybody,
you could probably give it in the description.
You know what? Fine. All right, you can't. I'm putting mine. I'll take all of them.
I don't even care. But what I was going to say was I actually pitched it to Bogey and Ched, and they didn't go with it, but I'm okay. I'm okay. But the idea was to basically
early on too.
To advertise Torn Underground on other podcasts, specifically like nerdy podcasts. I know a bunch of nerdy podcasts that could potentially get this game like a lot of players. And the way I saw it was like it's white noise for like mobile games and games stuff to like advertise
Yeah.
on podcasts and stuff like that. Raid, Shadow Legends, all that shit, you know, all that bull crap. But like for this game, it's like the ad would basically be like two, you know, people just passionately and nerdily talking about this really awesome game that they have a whole podcast about. That's also basically sanctioned by the makers of the game. And so there's a whole ass game attached to this podcast. I think it would just come off a lot more genuine and realistic. I do think maybe we should get a better intro episode out if we really did that, but I think it could get people to try this game. But so
really
if you
what
think
we
that's a
want.
good idea, please tell me so I can feel better about myself.
I think it's a good idea, so you
Thank
can feel
you.
better about yourself. I mean, like we're lucky enough we started the podcast. The podcast is very niche. Obviously, it's like you have to be
100%.
playing the game to understand anything about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, unless maybe you just love listening to my voice. But normally, like
So
you
fucking
have to
hot.
kind of know about the. You have to know the game. So, but if you can separate that and like people come in because like they don't have any idea what we're talking about, but they think we're funny and they're like, you know what, shit, let me try this game that they're talking about, and like bring in people to the game that wouldn't have even known about it. Like I think to me that's cooler. Like, yes, we have like a Discord full of really cool people. I get messages, about like the podcast and stuff. But if I can say like, people will message me and be like, hey, I didn't play the game until I listened to the podcast, and now I'm playing the game and I love the game and still listen to the podcast. Like, I think that is even cooler, that they came to the game because of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's something special that you guys are building, and I think it deserves promotion. I don't know. I'm not gonna, pick a dog or any fight because I don't want any trouble. But I don't know why the answer would be no to that. Maybe just to like, see how things play out. But I mean, so long as you guys are consistent, and you have been by putting, one episode out every week, I mean, it gives everyone in this community something to look forward to. Your listeners that are coming back, it gives us something to look forward to. And if you're consistent, why not promote something that is consistent? Why not promote something that I think what artists think about too, like that shows that you know your audience. Like that is the first huge step in promoting and being like, yeah, like I know some like also niche markets that might like this or might find it interesting, and like experimenting with that group. Why not? I mean, it's not like that's the only market I think that you could expand to, but yeah, like the more the merry, and I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, that's definitely not the only place to target is like gamers already, because like, I mean, we have a lot of people that we've talked to that I've gotten close to that like are not gamers, but like this game is it's something different for them, and I think it speaks to the magnitude of the game. Like, again, I'll say it again, like you can do what you want in this game. So it's like, this isn't like your stereotypical game. This game is not a linear progressive game. It's not, you have to do this and then you do this and then you do this. Like you can kind of go on your own tangent. So you can literally target anybody. You can target gamblers, because you can come on here in a fake casino with fake money and just play casino games. Like you can target that. You can target people who are business people because they can start trading, or they can start a company. Like you can target that. You can target just straight up gamers. You can target people who are like data analysts, because this game has so much data to mine and analyze and overanalyze. Like there is so many different people that play this game that there is no target audience. Everybody is a target audience, I think, for this game at one point or another. So I don't know. I think it'd be super cool. I mean, I think, when our approached Ched and Bogey about basically getting us on other shows. I just think maybe it was too early and we really didn't know what was going to happen with the podcast. But I mean, like, I'd be willing to not even have them backing us and just like throw an ad to, a show if they're willing to take it and throw it on. Like, we could find, another not super small podcast, like another one that's starting up and be like, hey, can you throw this on your show and see what happens? And I mean, if we get a couple people, we get a couple people. Like it's this game, I feel, is so word of mouth that like that's how you get people in here. Because like I've seen the Facebook ads and it's like I'm like, okay, I don't understand what the game is. Like that doesn't portray it. Like for a text-based game, text does not represent this game.
How do you sell this game? I'm actually curious. But like both of you, like say you found someone, you're talking, you're both like, you think you might be able to sell them. Maybe they're a bit of a, like, I don't know, they dabble their toe in everything. They're not like huge gamer, huge numbers, but like they're familiar. Like how would you sell that?
Hey,
I've
man,
honestly struggled.
You like porn? I got you.
Yeah. Perfect setup.
grab
I
the
struggle with
attention.
that because like obviously I play this game a lot. I'm on it on my phone at work and checking stuff. So like somebody will be like, "What are you playing?" And like
Yes.
It's so hard to explain. It's like, so like
not porn.
you have a
How do you do it?
character.
What are you playing?
It's not porn.
I will play. Yeah. Okay. What are you playing?
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
It's so tough because I basically tell them like, all right, cool. So you get like a character, and you have like battle
Like an
stats.
avatar.
No. Well,
okay.
see, I wouldn't even know how to say that because you technically have a character, but you can't do anything with them, like movement wise.
Oh, okay.
So like
Right.
that's kind of hard to explain too. But I try and get like, it's like how people say, "Give me your elevator pitch." Like there is no elevator pitch for Torn either. Like you need to sit down and talk to somebody who you actually think is going to like the game and play it. Because like I can't tell you what this game is about in 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like
I have to sit down with you and put my hand on your shoulder.
The best elevator pitch.
Yes, exactly. I'm gonna be like, here,
So
come sit down and listen to Daddy. We're gonna talk about this cool thing that this cool thing called porn. Okay, it's gonna change your life forever.
Come to think about it, I did discover Torn and porn around the same time.
yeah,
There you go.
that's my experience as well. Yeah. No. Okay,
It's a weird life.
Here's the way that I've been selling it. This is because when I sell it this way, people are intrigued. I don't have much conversion, but I got like at least 3 right now, so we're good on merits. Like I'll be fine.
Yep.
You say it's like GTA without the gameplay.
Well, I like that.
Easiest way. You just say it's like, you ever heard of the game Grand Theft Auto? It's like an open world game where you can like steal cars and buy businesses, own apartments. You can fly a plane. Well, you don't fly the plane. You get in the plane. But there's just a lot to do. The casino there. GTA, yeah? It's like a crime game too. You're like in a gang maybe. Maybe you got some guns. I don't know. Right? Like, okay, so imagine that. Now take out all of the gameplay.
That's not bad though.
Yeah.
That's actually
it's true.
pretty
It's
decent.
not bad.
It's funny when you think about it though. It's like all the amazing graphics that Rockstar has worked so hard to put in this
Take
game.
all that
Take
out.
all of that out and put in
Now-
words. Torn.
Replace it with a white screen.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's actually really funny.
it checks out.
Yeah.
Instead of amazing graphics, it will be a gray screen most of the time, unless you make it a black screen. But sometimes it'll be a white screen.
Yep.
And that's bad.
That's the only difference. Okay. But other than that, the exact same game. Like literally, you can, if you want to move around drugs, you could do that. If you want to buy all the guns in the world, you want to join a faction, go nuts.
You want to buy
it.
a million
Do it all.
lion plushies?
Yeah.
Feel cool about that?
You want to
can do it.
bomb everybody to Timbuktu?
You gotta have a lot of
If you wanna
money.
shove
Shove it up your ass and shit it
Shove a
out.
dirty bomb up your ass and shit it on somebody. Man, this is the place for you.
This is where you want to be. But make sure you clean and, clean it first.
A little self-respect.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
A little bit of bleach in there.
It can't be filthy. Yeah, it can't be like a disgusting bomb. That wouldn't be the same. No.
Yeah.
No, it has to be a
Just
clean, dirty
dirty.
bomb.
Oh my god. One thing that I was thinking about though, because we've been talking about a lot about like just like the inner workings of how podcasts work and stuff like that, I guess you could say. And one podcast that I've been listening to lately is even, I would say, nicher than this podcast, even though way more people have played this game. But I've been listening to a podcast that's literally just about the game Days Gone, and it's only on the PlayStation, and they're not making a sequel to it, or at least it looks like they're never going to. And this woman made a podcast about it maybe like 3 years after it came out, or 4 years after it came out. And it's pretty cool. Like, she's gotten multiple characters from the game on the show, and she's at 49 episodes. And
wow,
it's pretty good. But it's just like, holy shit. And she actually did talk about it. She had a couple episodes where she talked to other very small small podcasters. And so obviously they're talking a lot how like she's making a podcast about a single game. And I didn't think about for the longest time because like I thought it was like, wow, it's like, I mean, if it feels like this you like have to end it eventually, right? But then I kind of thought about it. I was like, I'm also making a podcast about one game, but it's different. And that's not taking away anything from her. I think all of her work on that has been splendid and awesome. And like, she even got like the main character on to talk with her on the podcast. That was super cool. But it's just like, I just feel good because I'm like, I know for a fact I have enough content here and enough content that will come from drama within the game to keep the show going as long as I'm willing to do it. I don't have to worry about that. The only thing I have to worry about is either people just stop caring about listening to the show, or if I stop caring about making the show. Those are the only two things that can end this show. That feels good.
I think if people stop caring about the show, it'll be because people stop caring about the game. But I think so long as the show exists, the game will only benefit. I don't think it'll, because like you were saying about how you make podcasts, and I think everyone, appreciates it. Your new listeners and your old listeners. It's as if you could pluck any of them and just go, let's take this one for a spin. And it doesn't matter. It makes sense. It feels like the vibe is right. Like that. That's what I mean. Like, as so long as a show like that is around, because ultimately, this is not a podcast about a game. This is a podcast about a game that people play, and you talk to people, and you get people's opinions, and you pick people's brains, right? Like, I think we tend to like gloss over the biggest thing, and it's like at the end of the day, it's a social game. And even the game that this woman is making podcasts about, like, I'm sure it's social for her as well. Even if it's like an adventure, I don't know the game, but even if it's like an adventure, one player, like linear game, the community that likes that game, they're all individual people with experiences and like stories. And I think that's worth sharing. And I think it just helps the community and the game.
Yeah. She talks about how she also runs like the Reddit, the subreddit for the game. So she obviously just hardcore fell in love with this game and is doing something pretty incredible for it that nobody else was apparently going to do. And in a way, that's me. Oh, yes, look at me just patting my back.
Both of you and Felon. You and Felon made something so beautiful together.
Oh,
Yes.
me
Like
and the
our
felon
baby.
made something beautiful together.
You both
The
have a
felon is the
beautiful-looking
mommy.
baby. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, that's me.
And I'm the fucking daddy. Call me daddy.
Oh. All right, Daddy Elmo, calm down.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I
Wait,
mean,
Elmo.
it's the
Oh,
yeah,
Devil.
Mickey.
Sorry, Devil. Calm down.
No, Mickey Mouse.
It's Mickey
Oh,
Mouse.
Mickey. Oh, sorry.
Now I'm in
Honestly,
fucking
like, it's
rage
been-
mode.
You
You don't know who the fuck I am? You think I'm fucking Elmo?
I don't know.
No,
Are
you're gonna
you
be a little
fucking
higher
Elmo?
than Elmo.
Elmo's a
Yeah, are
fucking
you
bitch.
actually fucking Elmo?
I'm fucking hardcore. Now you guys don't even know what to say.
Mickey is old as hell.
Mickey made you guys silent.
Yep, he scared me.
Mickey knows how to shut a motherfucker up.
I'm surprised you don't have a Mickey Mouse as your like profile pic, Ara. It's a nice one, but I don't know. I feel like the Mickey is suiting.
Oh my god.
That's hilarious.
Wouldn't be bad. Maybe. I'll think about it. I'm mulling
Maybe
over.
one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You party hard last night? Yeah. A little sick, so.
I'm boring now.
No, yeah, no, you're not though. Like everybody is allowed to like just chill out on the drinking and partying sometimes, and I'm a big, well, big fan of the cannabis, and it being legal here is amazing.
Yes, sir. I know how you feel. Although I'm about to go on a long tolerance break because my tolerance right now is ridiculous. I can't get stoned anymore. I've been smoking weed for like 2 weeks, but I haven't been high in over 2 weeks. That's how bad this is.
No, I feel that.
This is
Yeah.
fucking bad. So
Yeah,
it's like
so
I'm spending all this money for nothing.
That is the worst. Yeah, you don't want to end up spending like, oh wow, that was my second ounce in 1 month. That is not ever okay. I mean, it's maybe it's okay. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's like I feel you. I have to do that too. Like the one that I had that was earlier today was like it maybe lasted for 10 minutes. So I think I need a tea break as well.
Yep. But no tolerance breaks from torn.
No,
Nope.
absolutely not. We
Keep that shit rolling.
Never.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know how we plan podcasts? I've also now
I do
decided,
know that you
just so everybody knows, can understand why I said, oh, we were planning on doing merits. I kind of figure, honestly, this will be the episode for this week. I mean, we've been talking for an hour, and then next week we can talk about merits. I think that'll be perfect.
Oh god damn.
But that's the
Yeah,
thing, you know.
Congratulations, you made it. You made it onto a full episode.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I'm talking
I'm
about, though.
actually
Infinite,
speechless.
content,
Infinite content.
to talk about. Yeah, exactly.
And the best
And now
part
you
is,
have your listeners to be like, oh my god, merits are coming up next.
merits are
Like,
coming
I would
up
do that.
next.
Yeah. Yeah.
So super exciting.
yeah.
Yeah, merits are good. They should make some more though, I think. I think they should make some more.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, they went through like a phase of like, I feel like every week they were adding new merits in, but I think the more they put out, like they'd have to add more stuff that you can use the merits for too, because like eventually everyone's going to be maxed out on everything, and that's not fun.
That's a good point.
Eventually
I
it'll
feel
have
like
to
you
change.
could do, but okay, like how easy would it be to do like just how there's like employee effectiveness, like merit bar? What about like a director effectiveness merit bar?
Yeah, that
I mean,
would
like
be
I know
dope.
that's not what a lot of business owners probably want to hear. They're like, "Shut the fuck up! Don't shut up! What are you doing?" But like that would be an easy one.
Yep. I'd be down for that.
There you go. That's 55. You don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for having me. It was so much fun coming on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
I had a
man.
lot of fun.
Thank you for coming on, and even more, thank you for listening and hyping up the show on this, because this is, I mean, like we always say, at least how I feel, like this is definitely a big part of wanting to do this. Like, I love getting the messages of people that listen to the podcast and like ask questions or just say, hey, just listen to the last episode and I loved it. Like that. That's just super cool to me that we're reaching that many people. I mean, what is like our third country, number 3 country is what, Australia. Like the fact that like we even have 28 countries this thing has been listened to in, like that
It's
just
58
blows
countries,
my mind. So
Felad.
58?
Yes, you always get it
Oh,
wrong.
wow.
Jesus, I didn't even know there were 58 countries in the world.
He's
Jesus.
trying to he doesn't want to brag too much. He's
Yeah.
just trying to be a little humble.
No, yeah.
Well, granted,
look,
that
guys,
includes
yeah.
those countries where there's like,
28.
one
58,
listen.
My bad.
Yeah, I mean, hey, one listen's one
But
listen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
that is true.
Yeah, that's the coolest part.
Yeah, I think so too.
So,
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
but appreciate you coming on, and I'm sure, as long as you are playing the game, I doubt this will probably, be the last time. So our mics are always open. You see how I did that? You like that? That was pretty good.
Okay. All right. Bye, everybody.
Funny because that's like not
fuck this
true.
guy.
See ya.
See you, boys.
Okay.